It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist.
Welcome to Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome into Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 141 today. Really glad that you're with us to enjoy this next hour of clothes-free living for all of the right reasons together. So come on in. The pool is ready to go. The hot tub is fired up. The grill is going full bore. Fruits and vegetables off to the right. Cold drinks off to the left. Hot drinks inside. The hammock is out the side left door. The putting greens out the back. And, of course, our infamous cigar bar in the back left corner of the pool. Help yourselves. Plenty of everything. Towels, lotions, chairs, you name it. Just come on in and enjoy clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. Well, on today's show, Lisa Monroe walking in right now, and then we'll get to part one of my interview with David Berry and Gary KIGHT. They are from the First Coast Naturist Non-Landed Nudist Club in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I hear some music that can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one-of-a-kind, the completely over-the-top, the fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
I'm doing very, very well, Frank. How about yourself?
Not bad at all. Still getting outside naked as a jaybird and loving every second of it. Not bragging because of the weather. I'm just stating my case as to why I'm just overjoyed with joy. How about that?
Wow, you got up on the right side of the bed apparently this morning or something. Good, quite enthusiastic there.
Extending the season for as long as we can. You know, like
Okay.
any day it's going to change, and then we're going to be out of luck, and maybe a few minutes a day. But for now, I can still be out there hours a day with no issue with the weather. So life is still good in terms of outside naturism for me. How about you?
It certainly is, and I'm not looking forward to those days when when all the tourists are still in shorts, but we're bundled up in winter clothes because that we can't deal with it, and they're loving it because it's 40 outside or 50, and we're dying. So can't help it. We're weak, we're wimpy. I know when it comes to weather, we like it hot.
Well, even 70. You see people in bathing suits. You know they're not from here.
Oh, heck yeah.
See us in winter coats, ski hats, NNN ski hats, and
Mm-hmm.
boots and leggings and whatever else we can find in the closet left over from when we lived up north. You can tell, yeah, those people live here year round. So, okay, we all get together and everybody enjoys it. So why not, right?
Absolutely. And we'll keep the warm as long as we can.
Yes. And if we could bottle it, we'd do that too. Maybe a bottle a day of warmth, but it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
Especially you being a science background, you know more than I do. It just doesn't work that way, right?
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's the angle of the sun, it's the angle of the earth, it's all those crazy, nasty things that we have to deal with. Be kind to us, sun, and just shine and keep everybody warm and not have any of this cold stuff. I truly do not like cold weather. I mean, I don't even like to look at film of cold weather. So
Well, I'm not that bad yet, but I'm sure I'll get there. But at any rate, everybody knows we gave up paid work to do this show for free. Probably the most brilliant business move in history. Then again, maybe not. But as we do have expenses, we ask the listeners to give what you could. If you can become a paying Patreon peep, a PPP, and support the show in any way you can, we appreciate that very much. And many of you have, so thank you. And on each show, we try to highlight two people who have recently become a PPP. Lisa Monroe, who do we have today?
we have Randy and we have Mary Z. And it's good to see another gal come aboard because it gets lonely sometimes there for us. No, no, it's just really good to see that there are more and more women really becoming very active in naturism. So,
Okay. Now, is her last name Is that just the initial Z, or is that her last name, like Z?
Apparently, it's just an initial.
Okay,
That's all
all right.
she gave.
So it could be anything. Could be Mary Zebra.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
I hope it's not, because then we just gave her name away. With
Yeah. Somehow I get the feeling it probably is not. So we'll see.
Well, Randy, thank you very much, and Mary Z, thank you very much as well. And if you want to join and become a PPP, just go to patreon.com, type in our name, Naked Nudist and Naturist, you'll find us. It's also the very first thing you see in the show notes on every single show. It's right there. Just click on that link, and within moments, just like joining Anna, you can join us and be a PPP, and we thank you very much. Lisa Monroe, you're the hostess with the mostest, under the guise of merchandise. What do we have going on there?
Well, we still have all the things, the beach towels, the t-shirts, the tote bags, the water bottles, the coffee mugs, 3 different coffee mugs, all with the different logos on them. And the Clothes Free Living for All the Right Reasons mug is really, really pretty. I really like it. And it's doing very well. So I think people are enjoying that one. And then, of course, for the upcoming cold weather for our northern hemisphere people, there is the NNN beanie, knit cap, whatever. And believe it or not, people are buying that. I've truly just thought it would be kind of a fun thing to put on there, but it looks like it's doing pretty darn well, and I'm really impressed with that and appreciative. But there's hoodies and long t-shirts and a lot of things. And holidays are coming, so we might want to think about something for your favorite naturist.
Mm-hmm. I forgot to tell you something
Uh-oh.
fairly significant, but before I do, let me ask you a question. I know you have a lot of NNN merchandise, Naked Nudist and Naturist merchandise. You bought a ton, as did I. Have you ever either had on a shirt or a hat or drinking from a mug and somebody walked by and saw it and asked about it?
I haven't yet. I'm waiting for that time. I did wear I'll admit I wore an N and N shirt out. But but no one said anything. I'm gonna have to get my Naked Nudist and Naturist shirt out and go to the grocery or something and see what happens. Could
Okay.
be interesting. I'll report back as my correspondent role. I will report back with that information.
All right. Sounds good. Well, here's what happened. And I don't know why I forgot to tell you. It wasn't consciously. Let's not tell Lisa. I just forgot till this moment. I was wearing a Naked Nudist and Naturist T-shirt. Went to the grocery store. I thought, oh, this ought to be fun. I don't
Oh
do
boy.
that too often. And I was walking around, and this couple, man and woman together, stopped me and said, "Naked Nudist and Naturist." I thought, well, all right, here we go. We can talk about naturism. And but at the same time, I thought, wait a minute. If I answer in my regular voice, they might say, "Wait a minute, you sound just like on the show."
Oh, what a conundrum.
So I instantly thought I better change my voice ever so slightly. I won't do it here because it sounds a little ridiculous. Change it just enough, but they didn't have any funny look on their faces. So
Mhm.
I pulled that off. But we discussed the show, and they're actually listeners of the show, and very big supporters. They said we listen to that every week. That Frank and Elisa, and they went on for a minute or so. And I said, "Oh yeah, that Frank guy is." And then I went on about myself. For
That probably wasn't very hard.
but I talked, but I talked about you too. It's kind of cool. I hadn't thought about that as a possible scenario. What if I wear Naked Nudist in Nature, say, and somebody says, "Hey, do you listen to that show?" Well, yes, I do. Every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock. And they'll say, "Well, wait a minute, you're the Frank Stone." But then again, what's wrong with that? Maybe next time I'll just say yes. In fact, I'm Frank. I'm one of the hosts.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. And, I would think that being in Florida where there are so many naturists, that the odds of us running into someone in a public place like that is going to be pretty decent because there's just a lot more naturists that are more open possibly about it here. So, and more opportunity here. So that's right. But no, you didn't tell me, and that's really cool.
Yeah. I think next time I'll just play it straight. Wow,
Yep.
Naked Nudist and Naturist. You listen to that show? What do you mean? Do I listen to the show? I am the show.
You are the show? Okay.
Let me finish a sentence, young lady. I am the show along with Lisa Monroe is what I was
Oh,
trying to say.
thank you. I will not say anything from now on.
And it got your name in, but it also rhymed. See how I did that?
You are so clever. That's why you're the main host.
There you go.
That's how I get out of this.
All right. Well, we have, as you know, on today's show, part one of my interview with Dave Barry and Gary KIGHT coming up. They are from the First Coast Naturists, a non-landed club up in Jacksonville, Florida. And you will hear right from the get-go, these guys are sharp as, my grandmother used to say, sharp as tacks. These guys have it all together, a very well-run club. Lots of well-run clubs, non-landed clubs. And we've already dealt with a few, Indiana Naturists for sure, Pine Tree Associates. I'm probably forgetting some. Sorry about that. But the people we've dealt with in the non-landed industry, top of the line, and Dave Barry, who's the ringleader, he's the owner and founder of it, and Gary is one of the members. But these guys are terrific, well-run club, and if you're in the area, we invite you to join and encourage you to join because we think it's a terrific group, and you'll hear that part one of the interview today and part two next week. What do you think about that?
I think it's wonderful. I know that these guys are really great, and the really good thing about it is that this is a state in Florida that has a lot of landed clubs with actual places to go and spend the weekend or the week or whatever. That they have restaurants, they have day trips, all those things, and yet there's still an awful lot of people that are enjoying this being together as a group and just not having that overhead, so to speak, but they have that ability to go and do things. They hike, they play volleyball in places, they go to people's pools, they do a lot of things, and they're enjoying their life as naturists with this group. So that there's room for everybody.
Yeah. And this is the group, I don't know if you remember this group by name, but 2 years ago, Dave Barry himself, in fact, invited me to show up at one of their gatherings and bring all my equipment,
Mm-hmm.
record as many interviews as I wanted to with as many
Mm-hmm.
members as who wanted to come forward. Well, this is the group. This is the one I went to.
Yes.
And I forgot a key piece of equipment on the studio floor, and I couldn't do any interviews. And long story there. And, thanked him and had to leave. I guess I could have stayed, but I had to leave and had things going on. But that's the group. And I'm glad they remembered us and glad they're still having us in. And we're having them on. And
Absolutely.
And so today and next week, parts one and two. Now, let's get back to this story we addressed recently about the Blind Creek Nudists being arrested. And I had a few things to say on that show, and I made it very clear we don't have all the details. We have very little details at the time. The actual parking area, I guess, near Blind Creek, which is a nude beach, is you can't park there. So you have to drive up the road about 3/4 of a mile and then walk back 3/4 of a mile to get to the nude beach. Well, we didn't know that.
No.
We thought they were just on the nude beach, and the officers came up and said, "Hey, let's go, you six. You're arrested for being naked on the beach." And I even said something along the lines of being a police officer is very difficult work. They deal with the bottom of the barrel of society for the most part. But still a lot of officers, and I know a lot of officers because of my previous positions, not because I was arrested. Let's make that. But I relied on them a lot. They relied on me a lot. Various departments, but also individual officers. And they said they would always rather issue a warning on just about everything if they could. And sometimes they'll pick it up. They get pretty good at sizing people up. Well, this guy's an idiot or a jerk. He gets no warning. He gets a ticket, for whatever, speeding or whatever. But somebody else who's truly seems, I can't believe I did this. I'm not even, they can read that they're genuine. They'll say, can you just take the foot off the gas a little and not let this happen again? And they try to give people a break whenever they can. So I was wondering why they didn't give these people a break. Well, it turns out they gave all kinds of breaks previous to this and posted signs and made it very clear you can't be naked here, 3/4 of a mile north of Blind Creek. You can't do it or you will be arrested. And these six people went out there anyway. Now, I don't know if they were bucking the system or they didn't know, but if you're in the area, the signs are there. It's I guess it's pretty obvious. So to say you didn't know, I don't know how you didn't know. So an organization that's based in down the coast from where we are, called Treasure Coast Naturists, issued a letter, and it's put out by Carl, Travis, Howie, Cindy, Nelson, Mary Ann, Trey, and Ray. All signed it at the bottom. And I didn't see it at first from them, but Anna posted it on Twitter a week or two ago, whenever it was. Mm-hmm. So why don't we go ahead and read that? Because it's so valuable. As naturists, nudists, we have to be careful. We can't just go out there willy-nilly and let it fly and then get arrested, because then all of us get bad names. Yeah, those naked people, they're a bunch of crazy idiots. They're just whipping it off wherever they go. And so that's why a lot of people are upset about this. You know, if you're a naturist, nudist, clothes-free living person, then follow the rules. You should do that anyway. You're a clothed person. You should follow the rules in society. So it starts off, dear fellow naturist organizations. As you may be aware, there have been at least 8 arrests near Blind Creek Beach in the past week. I thought it was 6, well, it's 8. Mm. Our main parking lot has been closed for construction since January. Well, come on, folks. It's not like it closed a day and a half ago. It's been closed since January. Beachgoers were advised to park 1 mile north at the Little Mud parking area, and then to walk 3/4 of a mile south to the designated clothing optional area. As the months went on, naturist beachgoers slowly migrated outside of the clothing optional area and settled themselves at the Little Mud Beach area. In other words, they parked there and they said, you know, I'm not going to walk anywhere. The clothes are coming off here. Now, here's a key line. This practice was mostly ignored by the sheriff's deputies. Well, see, that's been my experience with police. They don't go looking for trouble.
No, they don't.
This practice was mostly ignored by the sheriff's deputies until they got a few complaints around the end of August. And next 2 paragraphs, if you don't mind taking those.
We were given warning that they were going to start issuing citations if people didn't move south to the designated clothing optional area. For many weeks, the deputies were on the beach asking people to move. Then on October 25th, they struck. 6 people were arrested on October 25th and another 2 on October 29th. All of the people were cited for 800.03, indecent exposure of sexual organs. The sheriff's department put their mugshots on their Facebook page. This was picked up by the local media, and the unfortunate arrestees were shown on television. Obviously, this is a horrible publicity for the naturist movement, and even more horrifying for the victims of the arrest. We want to do everything possible to ensure that nobody else gets arrested.
Okay, so there's something I don't know here. Now, first of all, it says the officers went on the beach where naked people were saying, hey, folks, you can't do this. Let's shoo you along here. Get where you need to go. And they were warning they were going to start issuing citations if you didn't move south to the designated clothing optional area. You can't be naked here at the Little Mud area. That's the name of the area. Little and Mud are capitalized. So you can't be naked here. Get your naked fannies. I'll go ahead and say it. We're Americans.
Sure.
Get your naked fannies and everything else down to Blind Creek. You can't be naked here. And for many weeks, the deputies were on the beach asking people to move. Well, I'm a compassionate person, as are you, but there comes a point where you don't have any sympathy for people when they get arrested for this kind of a stupid act. Now, the only thing I don't know, were these people part of the ones that were initially asked to move at some point in the last several months? I don't know. Were they from out of town and they decided, what the heck, let's be naked here? I don't know. But I do know there were signs up, and the police did everything they could. They went out of their way to put up signs and warnings and notify various agencies, and even went up to naked people and said, hey, you can't do that here. You got to go. Otherwise, we have to start arresting people. So I don't know. But the letter from this group said, as such, we're asking for your assistance. If you have social media pages, we ask that you post this message. And this is to all the naturist organizations. If you don't mind, can you go ahead and read that message?
Attention, Blind Creek beach users. Nudity is not permitted at the Little Mud Beach area. Arrests for indecent exposure have been made. The Blind Creek Beach parking area has been closed for most of 2025 for construction. During this time, beachgoers are instructed to park 1 mile north of the Little Mud parking area and walk 3/4 of a mile south to the designated clothing optional area. In the last week, multiple people have been arrested for indecent exposure at the Little Mud Beach area and had their pictures posted on the St. Lucie County Sheriff's social media page. Please walk to the designated area before disrobing.
And we have the exclamation point after disrobing. So please walk to the designated area before disrobing. Like, hello. If you are a landed club with a bulletin board, there's a flyer attached with the same message that could be printed and posted. We very much appreciate your support in this matter. And again, with warm regards, Treasure Coast and Naturist Board of Directors, Carl, Travis, Howie, Cindy, Nelson, Marianne, Trey, and Ray. Well, I don't know what to say at this point, Lisa, unless you have some comments. The police went out of their way to do the right thing. They could have gone out day one, said, oh, you're naked, and let's go, pal. Hands behind your back. You have the right to remain silent. But they spent the better part of 8 months telling people, hey, you can't do that here. You have to leave. And they just kept coming back. So finally the police said, nothing we can do. You know, we're going to have to put some teeth into this, otherwise they're just going to keep ignoring us. So again, the only part we don't know, were these people first-timers? Were they long-standing people who said, chuck the rules, the police can go jump in the ocean, we're going to get naked, or anything in between? We don't know. You don't know anything beyond that, do you?
No, I don't. And the first thing that crossed my mind as well was, were these the same people that had been, told not to do it? Were these new people to the area and they found out where the beaches were? There are a lot of things. But the question is, there are probably instructions, park here and walk to that area. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's signs posted. We haven't seen them. But let's just say that there are. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the area that is designated as clothing optional is marked, because most places are. They just don't want people to stumble on it without knowledge. So, if these were innocent bystanders, they weren't where they were supposed to be. But if they got caught up in this because there were other problems, and that is, a very unfortunate thing, at the least. But if they knew and they didn't care, and they just thought the sheriffs would keep looking the other way, and that they thought, well, I'm not going down there. I'm not going to walk that far. Then I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for them. But I do have a lot of sympathy for what's happening to the naturist community because of that.
Yeah, all of us get a bad name for that. And maybe the rule of thumb, and this is just me speaking, I'm not speaking on behalf of any organization or any other person, unless you agree with me, Lisa. And that is, always assume that it's not okay until you find out that it is okay. Just don't go to a beach, say, this must be a nude beach, what the heck? And I'll whip it off, and oops, off I go to the paddy wagon, as they say. Don't take your clothes off at a beach unless you're really sure that it is a nude beach or a clothing optional beach. Do you agree with that? Does that make common sense?
It certainly does. I think the onus, unfortunately, is on us to know where we are and what we're allowed to do and what we aren't allowed to do. And the other thing I want to say, too, is if these sheriffs have been going to this beach repeatedly, they likely knew who the locals were who were going to that naturist beach. So if they thought these people had never been given that warning before, they may not have arrested them. But if it's the same group they've been telling all this time, then that's another story. Or it may be that finally the complaints kept coming in. You haven't done anything about it. Why haven't you done something about it? And finally, the sheriffs were directed by superiors, arrest them.
Yeah, at some point, enough is enough, and we have to move on. So keep your clothes on unless you're sure you're in a legally authorized clothing optional beach. Well, Lisa Monroe, with that, we're going to head for the hills and get to part one of my interview with David Berry and Gary KIGHT. Promise to stay clothes-free. We'll see you at the end of the show.
Absolutely. I'll be back.
All right. The very terrific and the one-of-a-kind Lisa Monroe does a whole bunch around here, as you know, including coming in for these segments every single Saturday, and now, I suppose, every single Wednesday. And we appreciate Lisa Monroe very much. Well, we are the official podcast of the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, great. But if not, you can become one today. Just go to AANR.com, follow the navigation toward membership, and within moments, just like Lisa Monroe is and just like I am, you'll be a fully fledged member of the American Association for Nude Recreation. How about that? Well, you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 141 today. Really glad that you are with us, enjoying this hour together, clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. And now let's get to part one of my interview with David Berry and Gary KIGHT from First Coast Naturists, a non-landed nudist club in the Jacksonville, Florida area. We are headed up the coast a bit this morning in the state of Florida up to the Jacksonville area to meet a couple of gentlemen from First Coast Naturists. That's a non-landed club in the Jacksonville, Florida area. We have a gentleman who's a member and does a whole lot of work behind the scenes, Gary KIGHT. Good morning, Gary. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, Frank. Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you with us. And we have the owner, the founder, the guy who started the whole thing off. He's also part of the ANR Florida board, David Berry. Good morning, Dave. How are you today, sir?
Good morning. Good morning, Frank.
Yeah, good to have you with us. We actually met a couple of years ago in person. Haven't seen you since or talked to you, so it's really good to connect with you again today.
You too.
All right. Before we get into the whole non-landed club and what you guys do there, Dave, let me start with you and talk about ANR Florida, or ANR in general, however you want to approach it. What are you doing for the board of ANR Florida?
Well, I'm one of the directors, and our goal is to normalize naturism, nudism in Florida, support people's privileges and rights as nudists, and prevent unnecessary legislation that affects nudists, and in general, just promote nudism and present it in a positive way to the public.
Okay. In your view, how is that going overall? I know as a state, we are the capital, right? We're the leading state in the United States for nudism. And I know there have been a couple of issues that have come up. But overall, is it getting better? Is it going about the same? What do you think?
Well, we have a political climate right now that's leaning conservative, which I'm personally okay with. But in the process, the legislature sometimes reaches out to in the mode of protectionism, especially for children, which is a good thing. Mm. But their overreach sometimes is a misstep. They do things in legislation that negatively affects nudism as a whole. And our goal in the past and in the present is to reach out to the legislature, educate them, show them why they could be affecting an $8 billion a year industry here in Florida by legislating things that do not need to be legislated. I'll give you an example. There was a massage bill last year, I believe. It was really centered around massage parlors in Miami trying to prevent sexual contact and really some sleazy massage parlors down there. Mm-hmm. And in the process, that would have affected licensed masseuses, massage therapists at resorts here in Florida. And it would have required them to have clothes on, which kind of negates the whole idea of being at a nudist resort. We were able, through our lobbyists, to get the wording changed in that bill so that ANR chartered clubs are actually exempt from that law. And they use the ANR name in that legislation. So it was quite a precedent to set as a recognized national organization that was exempt from that law. So that was a positive thing.
Okay. Do you see in any way the state of Florida attacking nudism, or they're attacking these untoward sexual places, which there's a little bit of a runoff to us, because if they say you can't be naked in the state of Florida, not realizing they're affecting us, they're not really attacking us, though, intentionally, are they, or are they?
Well, in some cases, yes. In some cases, they just do it inadvertently.
Yeah.
And that's our job, I think, to educate our legislators, to let them know that, simple nudism is not sleazy. It's not lewd. It's a big industry here in Florida, and they don't want to cut the economics of Florida. Like I said, it's $8 billion industry. It brings a lot of people in from out of state. Tourism, Naycations is one of the names that we use in the nudist industry, and it brings a lot of money into Florida. Hollover Beach is a great example of how they bring $1 million a year in parking fees for Hollover Beach, and nearly downtown Miami Beach. So it's an industry, and it employs people. It provides jobs. It provides cash flow. So like I said, our basic job, I think, is to promote nudism and to make sure that the government doesn't step on our toes.
Okay. Now, the three of us we live on the east coast of Florida, the ocean side, and so we have access to nude beaches up and down the coast. I think there are 3 or 4 or whatever. You can even make your own if you find an isolated place. But the big push is on the Gulf side, the west side, and Pasco County, from what I'm told, is considered to be the naturism, nudism capital of the entire country because there are more nudist clubs there per capita than anywhere else. I know maybe you are involved with that, but is there anything we can do to push that along and at least get a section for nude recreation on a beach?
They're moving along pretty good over there. Treasure Coast Naturists, which my friend Mary Ann and Jack, you probably know them. And I think they're very close to getting, I think it's called Fort DeSoto beach area over there, designated. And if that happens, then we're going to have a West Coast beach, which will be clothing optional. So they're very close, I think. And I'm hopeful in the next year, or even maybe the next 6 months, we're going to see that happen.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah, we had Jack and Marianne on the show earlier this year. We're going to have them on again. We talked about Naycations last time. We're going to talk about Tampa Free Beaches next time. 2 excellent people to have in charge of something if you want to get something done, right?
Yeah, I said Treasure Coast, but it was Tampa Free Beaches. I'm sorry. I misspoke there.
Close enough. As long as we can get naked, Dave, we don't care what they call it, right?
Right.
All right. Let me turn to Gary. Gary KIGHT, a member of First Coast Naturists. And Gary, just take us into your background a little bit, how you discovered naturism and why you believe clothes-free living for all the right reasons is the way to go.
My first endeavor in it, so to speak, was at Cypress Cove. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect, and didn't know anybody there. I guess some locals. I don't even remember the name. I do remember one guy. His name happened to be Gary, also, which is easy to remember. I felt, they took me under their wing, so to speak, and I felt very comfortable. When I got back to Jacksonville, I looked up clubs in the area to see what there was to offer, which is how I found Dave and the group, and I've been a member for about 5 years now.
Were you allowed to be nude growing up, or was your household with your parents and everybody else, you got to have clothes on, you'll be in trouble, one of those, or what?
No, we had to have clothes on. If you went from the bathroom to your bedroom, that wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like, oh my God, the world's ending.
Yeah.
But for the most part, girls had tops on. Boys, of course, could have their shirts off. We would run around as kids, with our shorts, bathing suits, normal, just, what I would consider just a normal clothing attire.
Do you remember what triggered it for you to go from that environment to, hey, I think I'll try Cypress Cove here and see what happens? What got you to even think about trying it?
When I was a middle to late teenager, my parents bought a rural farm. There we had no neighbors whatsoever. I could do whatever I wanted to. I would just lay out naked and get a suntan, which I felt, felt freeing. It felt invigorating, and it just led to that. And then as I got older, I'm like, oh, I want to try this to see what this is about. And like I said, I ended up going to Cypress Cove and fell in love with it, so to speak.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Dave Berry, the founder of First Coast Naturists. Let me ask you the same question. How did you discover naturism? How did you get into this?
This is kind of a funny story that goes back to when I was a kid. My dad ran a lumber yard out in California, and there were sacks of redwood lumber all over the place. We lived right next to the lumber yard, and whenever my parents would go somewhere, go out to the store or shopping or whatever, I would go to the lumber yard and take my clothes off and run around in the lumber yard. And I could go from stack to stack without being seen by anybody because we were out in the country.
Yeah.
And then I joined the Navy and I had some experiences in northern Mississippi with friends and my first wife at a lake. We kind of skinny dipped, and then later on in Lake Tahoe with a girlfriend, and later on in I'm trying to think, in Nevada, we found some hot springs. So a little bit at a time, and then when I retired from the Navy, I met a couple who he was ex-Navy also, and he said, and I had mentioned to him that I had experiences, and they said, "Well, come with us. We'll go down to Sunny Sands in Pearson," and that was really my first public exposure to it, and it was kind of funny. I kept the Times Union a Sunday newspaper on my lap for about a half hour, sitting out by the pool because I was a little bit nervous. And then I realized nobody was looking at me, so I just started reading the paper and then got through that, and the rest is history.
That's right. Well, you have to catch up on the news, right, Dave? You got to read that paper. That's
exactly.
That's great. Well, let's turn to your club now. This non-landed club in the Jacksonville, Florida area, First Coast Naturists. So at some point you decided, you know what, I'm going to start my own club here. What triggered that whole thought, and what got you going?
It was kind of funny. We had applied to another club here in town. I'm not going to talk about them too much, but we basically got rejected from the other club, which sort of, what's wrong with me? I'm a good nudist. So
yeah,
I kind of stewed over that for a while. And then we started going out to Swanee Valley Resort out in White Spring, which is a nice place. And I don't know, one day I was sitting by the pool, just kind of sipping a drink, and thought, you know what, why don't I just make my own group? And I started investigating, and I found meetup.com, which is like a clearinghouse for interest groups. And within 15 minutes, I had created a group. And within 2 weeks, I had 15 members. And within 6 months, I had 30 members, and it's just taken off from there. So it's really worked out. We've been, I think we had our 12-year anniversary in August.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about 2012, 2013. So it's about 2013 you started the whole thing?
Right.
Yeah, that's very good. Gary, let me turn back to you for a moment. What kind of things do you guys do with First Coast Naturists? What kind of activities?
Well, obviously during the summer we have pool parties. We have a pool. Dave has a pool. There's a couple other members have pools. We kind of rotate having pool party. It's a potluck. Bring your own dish, share, whatnot. Police, your areas type. Just you're at someone else's house. Be considerate during the winter months, if you want to call Florida having winter months. We have a bunko party. Me and my girlfriend, we have a bourbon party to try different bourbons and basically just socialize. We have just last week we had a black light party. One of the members doesn't have a pool, so more of a a DJ type thing.
Okay. Now everything you just described to me, you could do with your clothes on. You could have a pool party, everybody has a swimsuit on. You can have a bunko party, everybody has clothes on. What makes doing it clothes free in a social setting with a whole bunch of people so much better?
With any group, there's going to be, especially the size of ours, there's going to be people you like, some people you tolerate, some people you don't like. I mean, that's just everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a football game or what it is.
Yeah.
What made me enjoy, and what I think most of us enjoy, is we're almost like a big family. We can count on, hey, so and so's broke down on the side of the road, or can you go help them with a flat tire? So and so's got something going on at their house, and need an extra hand. I know when Dave upgraded his pool, a bunch of us went over there and helped with that. When I put in my pool, we helped with that, and we're just a big family. We do what we can when we can.
Okay. Well, yeah, which is great. The camaraderie of it all. You kind of feel like brothers and sisters and enjoying the life together. But let's just take the bunco party. So let's say you have, I don't know, 30 people show up for this bunco party. I know the answer, and I just want to hear you express it. What makes a naked bunco party so much more fun and exhilarating and joyful than a clothed bunco party?
Can I step in there?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. Bunco is a dice game, a little dice game. It's really kind of a frivolous game, but
Right.
it's fun. But the main idea is that you move around to different tables, so it kind of forces you to meet other people in the group that maybe you haven't talked to. So really, it's a mixer, and it like I said, it kind of forces people to say, "Oh, hi, I really haven't met you before," and it's an icebreaker. So that's the best thing about it. Of course, when you're nude, being nude is just fun. It's just it's relaxing, it's fun. There's no pretentiousness with anybody because you're not showing off your wealth or your lack of wealth. You're just you are who you are. And I think that's the most maybe the most relaxing thing about being nude and nudism. And your shell it doesn't really matter, I mean, how you look, as long as you're comfortable in your own skin, then you're going to be comfortable with other people.
Yeah.
And that's kind
That's
of
more, yeah, that's the kind of answer I was looking for because I have those same experiences. When I have to go to a clothed get together, I'm thinking the whole time, why do we have clothes on? This should be a naturist activity. I'm with non naturists, so it's not going to happen. But it's so much more fun. You just feel, like you said, you feel so much more free when you have your clothes off. It's not sexual, it's not lewd, it's not rude. It's just you're free and you can enjoy life as it was intended, right? Is that your belief?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, our black light party is a good example of that. That was it's a group effort to get the house ready with blacking out the windows and putting the black lights up and putting the decorations up. And we bring one of our members as a DJ, so he brought his equipment in, and we basically had a dance party for 4 hours on
Wow.
Saturday.
Wow.
And we don't need much reason to get nude, but we create reasons. We have bunco parties, black light parties, wine tasting. We have bourbon tasting parties, and of course, we have pool parties. But I should add that we also support the resorts here in Florida.
Yeah.
We go to Cypress Cove twice a year. We go to Swanee Valley Resort twice a year. We used to frequent Sunny Sands before it kind of fell by the wayside, which unfortunately.
Yeah.
Lake Como, we have a big event in Lake Como we go every year, which is it was the Naked Burn Arts Festival. I think it's still called something like that. But as an example, we gave you can't buy or sell anything at that festival. We gave 300 tacos away.
Wow.
As a group. So we have a great time all over the state. We travel. We're a traveling group. We're a non-landed group, but we're a traveling group also. So we support the resorts, and we have fun here in town also.
Okay. Now, a lot of groups, we've talked to the non-landed groups, they have outings, and you said you have outings as well, like nude bowling, nude archery. Do you guys do anything like that?
Well, we had a bowling alley up in Brunswick, Georgia that we used to go to. It burned down, and we haven't been able to find a bowling alley locally. Now there is Patty from Cross Oaks Haven. She does host bowling down in Kissimmee because it's a privately owned bowling alley. Most bowling alleys are actually nationwide chains now,
Yeah.
and it's difficult to get them to let us do that on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
So anybody that wants to bowl here in Florida, nude, see Patty in Cross Oaks Haven, which is another non-landed group, and I think she does it twice a year down there in Kissimmee at I think it's called the Orange Bowl bowling alley right there in Kissimmee.
Okay. All right. Yeah, just curious what kind of things you do. Now, how many, you said you, within a couple of weeks, you had 15 members. Within 6 months, you had 30. How many do you have now?
We have had as a high as 250 members.
Wow.
I think we're right around maybe 215 members right now.
Okay.
And we've lost a couple people. We recently went to 100% Anner Club. So we went from reasonable small dues every year, like $30 for a single, $40 for a couple. We had to bump that up expecting people to join ANR, which is, for a couple, it's $90 a year if you do it through our club. And but overall, people have embraced that. They understand the reason why we did that. If you're going to support nudism in Florida, you need to support ANR.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of give it the same thing. If you're a gun owner, you should be an NRA member, and I am. I'm a life member NRA, so I am kind of conservative, but government wise, I'm conservative, but personally, obviously, I'm not that conservative. So
yeah, I believe in that wholeheartedly. I've been a musician since I was in high school. I mean, professional level, and I joined the union, the musicians union, 150 years ago when I was in high school. And I don't really need to belong to that union anymore. I don't do union gigs. They do nothing for me anymore. But I'm still a member because I feel it's important. Even as you age a little bit, you should still be a member because it helps support the younger people who are doing those union gigs. So being a member of ANR, absolutely. And being a member of NRA, if you're a gun owner, absolutely. Now, I saw on your website the money you take in, the $30, $40 or whatever for membership, not counting the ANR fee. You're not looking to make a profit. That's just to take care of the expenses, right?
We aren't officially nonprofit. I've been sitting on my butt actually. I need to do that and make it official and make us an officially a 501. But no, basically it just pays the bills, and we're all volunteers here. Nobody gets paid. The website, costs us about $400 every 2 years. We have mailings that go out every month. We have constant contact that we use for our newsletter, which is like $12 a month. So there's expenses. I think we gave the DJ $100 because he had to come about 60 miles and bring all of his equipment. So we gave him money to so that he would want to do that, and we compensate him for that. So those are expenses that we have, and sometimes people go, well, why are we doing that? And it's like, well, we got bills to pay. Meetup is, for instance, $198 every 6 months to remain with that structure.
Okay.
So there are expenses, and nobody makes any money off this. As a matter of fact, I think I funded it myself for the first 2 years. Just to get it going. So.
Yeah, which is good to know. So you still have the meetup thing going? People can still meet up with you there?
Right. Well, that was one of the benefits of Meetup was that you can join Meetup easily. It's free. And then when you see our group, it may be alongside a wine tasting group or a kayak group or basket weaving or whatever. If they find our group and they request to join. Now, we do require single guys to come to a textile meet first. And so I could talk to them and get to know them and let them see if they're there for the right reasons. Vet them, if you will. If they walk in with an ANR membership, that's huge. If we meet them at a resort, that's huge. That negates that other requirement because we already know that they've been vetted by Cypress Cove or Swanee Valley Resort or wherever they've been. So there's, we've never discriminated against single males. We are reaching a point now. I think we're probably heavy with single males, but they don't all show up at the same time,
right? So
it's okay.
We are talking to Dave Berry this morning and Gary KIGHT. They are from the First Coast Naturists. Dave Berry is the owner and founder, and Gary's a member. And Gary, let me turn back to you and just tell us what your role is with First Coast Naturists.
I'm one of the organizers. I help organize events. If let's say you were a member and you were having a party at your house, a few of us will show up early to help set up and do things of that nature. My girlfriend does the newsletter for the group. I assist her very minimal with that. She and Dave pretty much take charge with that. But that's it. Just, and, kind of look out. We have, like Dave was saying, we have a textile event once every other month, I believe it is, where we'll meet existing members. We'll go to a restaurant and just have dinner. We'll vet new members and, talk to them and tell them a little bit about the club and how we operate and what, okay, we have pool parties, we have bunko parties, we have wine tastings, we have bourbon parties. You just kind of give them the lay of the land and, to let them know, hey, what to expect, what not to expect type thing.
Hmm. Okay, now on the show, it's been a while since I've mentioned this, but I've talked about that I was invited to a non-landed club to participate. Actually, I was invited to show up and interview as many people as possible, and I managed to forget a crucial piece of equipment, so that never happened, and I ended up leaving. Well, that group was your group, as you well know. And just out of curiosity, Gary, were you there that day?
How long ago was this?
It was, I think, September of 23, maybe in late
Ooh,
August.
I
I'm
might
not
have
sure.
been there. I don't know. It's possible.
Okay. And Dave, it was not at your house, as I recall. It was at
No,
another,
I think that was at Glenn and Linda's house.
yeah, another
Glenn
member's
Alpha,
house.
yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed they had a fence around their yard, privacy fence.
Mm.
But there were still windows that if people really wanted to look over that 6-foot fence or 8-foot fence, whatever it was, they could have. Any issues with anything you've ever done as a club with neighbors in the area saying, hey, what's going on over there or anything like that?
I have not had any issues because, first of all my neighbors know that we're nudists.
Good.
I don't make that a secret. Luckily, we don't have any 2-story houses next to my house, so there's nobody looking in. And I have pretty tall fences. I have 7.5 or 8-foot fences in the backyard.
Okay.
And I always invite them to parties. So far, they have not shown up, but they're always invited.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors, my next door neighbor here, we've been neighbors since 1984. So I've known him a long time, and he would love to come over.
Yeah.
But he would incur the wrath of his wife, I think, if he did that.
Yeah.
But no, we haven't really had any problems at all. And we have a big street, wide street, so there's we'll get 50 cars on the street sometimes.
Wow.
Now, we don't do it every month. We do it twice a summer.
Right.
Maybe another time in the wintertime we'll do something. So we're not Jacksonville's funny. In the summertime, it's so hot outside in the summertime that nobody's outside anyway, except us in the pool.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we're not really bothering anybody. We're not, and I make sure people don't park in front of mailboxes and driveways, and I put that word out. So really, it's worked out well, and we haven't had any problems at all.
Yeah.
So
And one of the things I really appreciate about your club, I don't even remember how long I was there, an hour or two, and then I drove off to find equipment at a store. They didn't have it, and I came back for a little bit. But you were very concerned about privacy, protecting the privacy of your group.
mm-hmm.
And you even wanted me to put a piece of tape over the camera on my computer, which I would never use or take, I'm not wired to do that. But you didn't know that. You were just meeting me for the first time. And so I actually appreciated that. Like, this guy's going out of his way to protect his people. So I just want to say publicly, hats off to you, Dave, for doing that.
Well, that's part of our that's part of the nudist ethic. Really is protecting people's privacy, respecting their privacy. Like I said, I'm an open book, so I don't care. But other people do, because they have jobs and they're concerned about jobs. I applaud Gary for being open about this. I worked for the Navy for 46 years and had no problems at all. They knew I was a nudist. I made it wasn't a big secret about that. So I didn't have any problems.
Yeah.
There are jobs, though, that it is a problem if you are exposed as a nudist.
Oh, yeah. If they attend one of your parties, and depending on the job or the profession they're in, and somebody takes a picture and it gets leaked on the internet and their profession or their employer sees it, that could be the end of the party for them.
Sure.
And I've been told legally you can't fire somebody for being a nudist, but I also know, because I've done this forever, you can always find a way to fire somebody. Just you'll find something if you look hard enough.
Well, that's one of the things that Anner does is if someone has a situation like that, they have a legal response to that, and we have gone into court and helped people that a lot of times for custody battles. Anner has gone into bat for people who the spouse has said, well, he's a nudist, he's weird, so he shouldn't get custody of the child. So Anner does go to bat for people like that, and that's one of Anner's jobs, and one of the things that we do for our members.
I saw an article recently I think it had to do with Playa Linda Beach. A guy took his daughter there. I don't know how old she was, but he got arrested for that, for taking a kid to the nude beach. And Anna got involved and the charges were dropped. Do you remember what happened there?
Well, it was an overzealous park ranger.
Okay.
Because, Anna is founded on family nudity, family-friendly nudity.
Yeah.
It's not sexual. And there are a lot of folks bring their children up as nudists. And you'll see it mostly you'll see it at Cypress Cove, because that is considered a family-friendly resort, and Lake Como also. So there's no federal laws against nudity. So that's why Playa Linda and Apollo Beach on Canaveral Seashore has worked out. Once we got Volusia and Monroe County to quit trying to enforce local ordinances on federal land, which happened years and years ago. It's been 25 years. So we really haven't had any problems there. Occasionally we'll get somebody who walks from the boardwalk into the parking lot nude because they've forgotten, or they're just blithely unaware. And we try to help those people out also. But, a lot of enforcement on the beaches is from nudists ourselves. Peer pressure. We see somebody who's acting out on the beach, doing something he shouldn't do. We are the first ones to report that to a park ranger and get him or them out of there. We don't want that on the beach. We don't want that threatening our privileges on that beach. And I do consider them privileges. There's no absolute right to be nude, but if we are good nudists and we behave properly, we're going to become more and more accepted and have places set aside for us where it's appropriate. And that's the important thing.
The very terrific David Berry and Gary KIGHT from the First Coast Naturists in Jacksonville, Florida, a terrific non-landed nudist club, well-run, highly organized, lots of activities, and spreading the joys of naturism, nudism, clothes-free living for all. And on next Saturday's show, which will be episode 143, part 2 with Dave Berry and Gary KIGHT. And before we head for the hills, before we get ready for our Wednesday show in just a few days, let's bring back our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa.
It's good to be back. And that was a great first part of that interview. I'm looking forward to part 2. Yeah. These guys have it going on. They just really are enjoying life and the way that they're practicing naturism. And I think it's great.
Yeah, very highly organized and also very serious about it. And it's not just some kind of party atmosphere. They're serious about it. Like, you come here, we expect you to be a naturist, we expect you to behave, and as long as you do, we're going to have a great time. And if you don't, you have to go. And fortunately, not too many of those people show up over the years because the reputation is out. Yeah, you better not play games with Dave. He'll find a way to get you out quickly. And so good for them. And anytime we get to meet people who take naturism seriously, and I know that sounds kind of like an oxymoron, if that's even the right term, it probably isn't, but naturism is supposed to be fun. So how do you take fun seriously? Well, I guess you just follow the rules and the protocol, and I guess we're in good shape, right?
Absolutely. And everything has rules. Life has rules. And unfortunately, some we don't enjoy, but most we do live with, and they keep us safe. They keep us in line. They keep us whatever. But you just can't become a naturist and then go out and start, or call yourself one and then go out and start doing things you shouldn't do. And it's just really good to know that this club takes that seriously and that they have a good time. And it's a great thing.
Yeah, very much so. Looking forward to part 2 of my interview with David Berry and Gary KIGHT on next week's show. And Lisa Monroe, with that, let's head for the hills. We'll start getting ready for Wednesday's show. And if you promise to stay clothes-free, we'll let you go until Wednesday. How about that?
Oh, well, thank you very much, because I'm always promised to stay clothes-free, and you do the same.
Sounds good. Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, episode 141 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and on most Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here, and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist. Have a great clothes-free day.